Welcome to the Obsessed With podcast. We are your hosts, Kim and Aaron. We've been together since 2007, and we are the co-founders of Travsessed.
And we've also been full-time travelers since 2012.
That's right, crazy.
Which is insane. Join us here as we pull back the curtain with fun, juicy, and honest conversations. We're gonna dive into all the things that you might be navigating too, like figuring out how to add more travel and adventure into your life, which PS, this is our specialty, navigating big transitions, relationships and marriage, deciding whether or not kids fit into the picture in your 40s, and most importantly, how to create a life of freedom on your own terms.
Consider this podcast your official permission slip to unapologetically do life your way and be able to change your mind a million times along the way and know that you are not alone.
Our goal with this podcast is to create a fun, zero judgment, happy hour style space where we can all just hang out, have real conversations, and navigate all the life things together.
So grab a drink, settle in, and let the obsession begin.
Woo!
Welcome back to the Obsessed With podcast. We are back for another week. Our pug is having hairballs
Literally as soon as
during on the intro. The minute I started talking,
like coughing up a lunch.
She was also perfectly comfortable on the floor, and Kim had to bring her up on the couch so she could
I cuddle.
Okay.
I want to cuddle with my girl.
Okay.
So if you hear any piggy noises in the back, it's just Miss Mimi LaRue in all of her glory.
God. Staring at me.
Oh my gosh. Well, welcome back. How are ya? How are you, friend?
I mean, I'm a little tired.
Yeah, I know.
A little on edge.
It's been a freaking week, dude.
I'm currently on call right now.
Yeah.
Had a long day today. It's Wednesday, the day before this actually releases.
Of course. That's
Wednesday night at 6:45 p.m.
I don't know why we're act surprised every time. Like we legit do this almost every week. It's always like the night before.
Not really. We were, before we left for our trip, we had episodes mapped out. Like we had weeks.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed too, just to feel better, but I always listen to Stassi and Bo's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, this is coming out tomorrow. Or she just recorded a podcast with Taylor Strecker, who I love. And Taylor was like, when is this coming out? And she's like, tomorrow. So,
Oh, I mean, it's
all good.
I don't mind it.
It's just the fact that you worked all day and you're on call.
I think it's just an energy level for me.
Yeah.
I want to feel, I love doing these on Sunday morning. I feel energized, or Saturday morning. I wake up, I feel good. I just got back from the gym. I'm kind of in it.
So let's keep this short and sweet. So, because I alluded, if you follow us on Instagram on the story, I was in scrubs and I was like, "Oh, I just did something. I so cool."
I'm sure people were hanging on to a thread on that one.
Riveting. Okay.
I mean, I bet you they're sitting at dinner I wonder what it was Kim was doing in scrubs.
They were. Well, and here's the thing too. As I said, we would talk about it on the podcast. I didn't want to talk too much about it just because you never know who's watching, right? So if I was talking about the interview and
everybody from work follows
that's
us.
What I mean. So I was like, okay, I don't we'll talk about it more on the podcast, because it's you never know, freaking lurky eyes, always watching, always always knowing.
But what if they're listening to the podcast?
Well, it's not anything bad.
No,
I just don't want to go into a whole thing. Okay, so I had an interview at Aaron's hospital. But just rewinding for a second, because when we got home from our trip, the goal was, and we already talked about this, but that we both really wanted to work. We want to spend the next year and a half just both of us working as much as we can and just saving a bunch of money, right? That's kind of our goal. So we're when we get back, both of us signing a contract. Well, for me, contracts have not been working out. It's either night shift, which I just don't want to do.
It's not worth it.
and it's not only night shift, it's like low paying. It's like, at least if you're going to work nights, okay, you're going to make some really great money. But these are like lower paying night shift, just shitty ass
Some
contracts.
of them are night and variable.
Yeah, I'm like are you insane? Yeah. Like, who's working that? Or like I got put in for, it was a daytime, or no, that was a night shift too. I didn't even get a call, right? And so both of my recruiters have said your gap in your resume is a problem, right? Because if I haven't taken a contract, or I don't have any real work history, ultrasound work history on my resume for 2 years besides the strike that I did. So like if we're putting you in against, say, another traveler who, yeah, you have way more experience, but if they have been working back-to-back contracts or something, just automatically, like, they're going to probably choose that other candidate, right? It's just kind of how it works. So that's been like a huge thing for me. It's been an issue of like I don't think I've ever had a time where I wanted a job and I didn't even get an interview. Yeah. Like, ever, you know? So that kept happening. Nothing was really working out. I was like getting frustrated. And then we were like, okay, like, let's really pursue the PRN thing. Cause I feel like that's a good way for me to get my foot in the door, keep my skills up in ultrasound, make some extra money, but also fill that gap where now I have work history on my resume and it's updated. So that will help me getting contracts in the future. And so.
Well, we were also in Bali, and I think you reached out, or my manager reached out and kind of shared that they had 2 people leaving ultrasound for a short amount of time. And so then it was like, well, yeah,
I'm not there yet.
Oh, I know.
I'm telling a linear, chronological thing.
So, hang on tight. Here we go.
So, well, there's important pieces because this is, okay, so we decided to do that. Also, the other part was the flexibility piece of PRN, because we are leaving for Peru in 6 weeks, and then we come back, we have like 5 weeks, and then we leave for Mexico for 2 weeks. And your contract already knows, like, you already have the time. It's not a big deal. But when you're trying to get a new contract, having that back-to-back time off in 13 weeks, like, that's just hard to do anyways. They're going to be like, no. So the PRN was also a good option because I have flexibility to still take off and run the Travsessed trips. So like, okay, cool. Like, let's just explore that route. It seems like the best option right now. So my first step was, I've gone back and forth with this manager in Boulder, Colorado.
For years,
bro, years. And to take a travel contract. And for whatever reason, and I have her email because 2 of my friends have worked there, and they've raved about this place. They rave about her, and one of my friends gave me her email to get in touch with her personally to be like, hey, do you need a traveler, whatever. And so we've talked via email, and just over the years, it's just the timing has never worked out. Just never worked out. And which is a bummer because it sounds like a dream job. Mm-hmm. Just from the exams, the crew, the team, whatever.
The location.
Obviously, I love Boulder. So I emailed her and I was like, hey, just checking in again. Because I'll always send a little check-in. I'm like, we're in Colorado. We're just we're getting back. I'm available. Do you have a need for a traveler? Because they always have travelers too. And she was like, I actually just hired a full-time person. So I'm finally in a place that I don't need a traveler, which yay for you, boo for me. But she said, we do need PRN. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's perfect. She's like, why don't you come down? Let's do an interview. We can finally meet in person. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, awesome. And so she's like, let's set up a time. So we set up a time. Then she sends me an email. She's like, okay, so it's going to be a lot for like an hour and a half where I'll have like a sit down, what's it called? Like just an interview, just talking interview. And then there'll be a scan interview. And I was like, what? And I've heard this was a thing now. I guess more and more places are starting to do this, which makes sense.
I would agree. Especially some of the horror stories you've told me.
Yeah, but I've also been a sonographer for 18 years. So but I get that because I guess I don't know. I understand the concept. Like you want to be able to know that they're not a total, idiot, like scanning backwards or whatever. So I get it. But I'm like, what? Because again, I haven't worked in a contract in 2 years, right? So I've taken a step back from ultrasound. So I'm already rusty, right? Like I've taken off a year or so before and it's like riding a bike. It's muscle memory. It comes right back, but it takes me a couple of patients to find my groove and I'm alone. Like as a sonographer, it's just you and your patient. So I can take my time. I can think through things. I can be like, oh, okay. There's not pressure of like somebody watching over my shoulder.
Well, evaluating if you're good enough to get the job.
Right. So I'm like, the first time that I scan again, I did the strike, but it was 2 days. Okay, so whatever. And that was months ago. That was January or February. So the first time I scan again, someone's going to be watching me and it's just like, it's a test. Like it's like, it already makes me so nervous. So I was super nervous about that. And just interested in like any sonographers listening, is that like a thing now? Is that kind of anywhere you go, they do these scan tests? Like, I don't know.
Not for travelers, obviously.
Obviously not for, that's true. Not for travelers, but if this is like a full-time kind of new thing you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, just an interview in general, because I haven't had like a normal sit down interview, even as full-time, they hired me as a student. So I don't think I've had an interview
when we went back to Baptist.
When? It was on the phone.
Yeah, it wasn't sit down.
I talked to Jen, my friend, on the phone. Yeah. And it was like, they did ask some questions and stuff, but it wasn't like that, like sit down, like tell me about this and tell me about the time that you had trouble. Like, you know what I mean? So I've never had that before. So, and then as a traveler, you do it on the phone. Have you done a sit down?
Yeah.
Where? For Baptist?
Yeah.
And did they just ask you like the HR questions?
Yeah. Dana and Ficken.
It was Ficken?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Just the two of them?
Yeah.
But obviously you don't have to do anything.
No. I didn't really have a sit-down interview with Stanford Children's, because I did go in, remember, and I sat and talked to the director. Mm-hmm. But she wasn't doing the whole hoopla. Hey, real quick, we hope you're loving today's episode, and we wanted to take a moment to keep you in the loop. If you work in healthcare, or you're a healthcare traveler, or you know someone who works in healthcare and is interested in fun adventure travel, you've got to know about our Travsessed Adventure Trips. And listen, we get it. Working in healthcare can feel really demanding, overwhelming, and stressful. We spend so much time taking care of others that we forget to take care of ourselves.
So let us take care of you on a Travsessed trip. Once you sign up for a trip, we literally take care of everything. The planning, the logistics, and all the little details. So all you have to do is show up, have fun, and make unforgettable memories with a group of like-minded, adventurous travel friends. This is your time to step away from the chaos, recharge, have some fun, and come back feeling like the best version of you. Everyone who comes on a Travsessed trip says you come as strangers, leave as family. Literally. Travsessed trips have sparked dozens of new friendships, adventure squads, and travel soulmates that last way beyond the trip.
And honestly, it's not about the places we go. It's about the amazing people you meet along the way. We personally plan every itinerary based on our own travel adventures, so we have been there, done that, and know all the best things to do and see that you would not find on your own. Plus, we've got some awesome local friends on the ground to help us make each trip extra fun, special, and totally unique. Our trips are for active adventurers who like to get out of their comfort zones and push their limits. And the best part? We keep our groups small and intimate so you can form real connections like really, really fast.
So if you're ready to ditch the planning stress, find your adventure crew, and travel like never before, head over to imtravsessed.com and grab your spot on one of our next adventures.
That's IMTRAVSESSED.com.
Or you can send us a DM over on Instagram at Kim and Aaron G.
That is KIMANDERRANG.
Just DM us the word adventure and we can chat more about it. You can also find our Instagram, our website. Everything is linked in the show notes below. Also, at the time of this recording, we have 3 spots left to join us in Oaxaca, Mexico in 2025, which honestly is one of our favorite trips. Yeah. So you can head over to our website, check that out. And we also have so many more fun adventures coming your way in 2026.
We cannot wait to see you on one of our life-changing trips. Now let's dive back into the episode.
Yeah. You've also been on the other side, right? At Stanford where you were interviewing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you didn't ask those stupid questions.
I mean, Stanford was very regimented.
Did you have to ask the questions?
Yeah.
Oh, were you like cringing?
Yeah. I would always like break it up and be like, what's your favorite color? And they would say it, and then I would just be like, "Ooh," like just messing around. I'd be like, "I'm like." Is
that really a question?
No, there's no right or wrong there. But it was like I hated those questions so much that then I would kind of wait for them to say something. I would break off and just kind of like start talking about the job because I want to hear you conversate. I want to hear you in real life. Like, how do you communicate? Like, not how do you fake answer something that. Because again, remember that one story I told you about the guy, one of my good friends? I swear he had Asperger's and like really cool guy, but he answered those questions like honestly. And like they were like, what would you do if a patient was like mad and refused and like wanted you, like didn't want you or something? He's like, well, I would just leave the room and like I'd go find somebody that the patient wanted if they didn't want me. And like, so then they were like, so you would abandon your patient? And he's like,
right.
Well, I'm not abandoning my patient. I'm literally going to find somebody that they feel more comfortable with. But you asked the question as if I was the only one in the room. What would I do? And if the patient felt uncomfortable with me, I would leave the room and go find somebody they felt comfortable with.
Right.
So he answered it and they were like, you can hire him, but he's on you. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, because he answered it like honestly.
Yeah.
Like good for him for answering it honestly.
Well, and as a side note, I just think those questions are such bullshit.
No,
like
100%.
Again, we're talking about like those HR questions that they ask you on interviews of just like, yeah, how would you handle the situation? Name a time you had an incident with a coworker and you had to solve it. Like, and it's like these questions that again, you're preparing for, you have to have an answer, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, you're not really being your most authentic self, where I feel like in an interview, you want to like get to know the person to really see, okay, their personality, their vibes. Like someone coming into an interview like that, they're going to be rehearsed answers for the most part, or at least they're going to make themselves sound the best. Like the question that, what is it where it's like, what's like your worst quality or something? It's like, oh gosh, like I'm just such a perfectionist. It's always the answer. Like I care too much.
I value my work so much that I'm really hard on myself, but that's something I'm working on. I'm very aware of it.
Yeah, I'm such a hard worker. I work myself too much.
Yeah.
Like it's just.
I just go home exhausted because I'm just all about the team.
I just give way too much.
Yeah. And there's not much for myself. And I really want to work on that as well. So I'm very familiar with my faults and what I need to do, but I don't let that affect the team.
That's good.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like you're really good at those. Like you've helped me before.
Because I know the key words they're looking for, and you can make up any story as long as those key words are there.
Yeah.
Like my dog got in. You know what? I haven't been in the hospital very long, but my dog got into a fight with another dog, and the owner got a little upset. And I knew that I didn't want to cause any more confrontation, so I tried to calm the situation. I actually, tried to pet the other dog, said I was sorry. Apologize. It's like you can say anything. They're like, oh, man.
Yeah, you have to hit those key things.
100%. Yeah. Like empathy, like you weren't aggressive. You knew how to talk down the situation, communicative. like that's all they're looking for.
Yeah.
And like, so you could say like, I went to Mars and
it's
like,
just such bullshit. And I hate that kind of stuff, which is, I love the traveling interview because it's very much of just like,
real deal.
Let me like, can you do this? Can you do this? This is what we do. Blah, blah. It's like very straight to the point to see if you're a good fit or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've only had one interview as a traveler that had like those kind of HR questions. Where was that?
I don't know where yours is. I remember I had to pass the HR questions to even get a phone call interview. At Emory.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just think it's a waste of time.
And they let you pause and then fix your answer and then go back and like redo it. Yeah, you could hit like 6 and it like erased and let you restart. If like, I mean,
yeah, that's ridiculous. So anyway, I was so nervous about that. And then ended up, so we were going back and forth. And I was also very honest with her too. And I just said, and I kind of went back and forth about like, how do I word this? Like, what do I say? Like, how do I go about it? But just being honest and upfront of like, I've stepped back from ultrasound for 2 years. You know, I've been working in our business full time, blah, blah, blah. So like, you know, I'm a little bit rusty. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm also like a fast learner and blah, blah, blah. And I was like really glad that I put that out there too, of just kind of understanding, you know, where I was at. And she's like, oh my gosh, 100%, totally get it. You're going to do great. It's all muscle memory. Like, and I was like, cool. I'm glad she knows that, you know, because again, whatever. But one of the requirements was I had to take call. And I couldn't take call because it was an hour. It's an hour away. And so anyways, she said, I'm going to meet with the team and we're going to talk about hiring PRNs that can't take call, but getting help to cover like shifts. If that's something that we could like shift or change, because she's like, as of now, all our PRNs have to take call. It's like a mandatory thing. So we put a pin in that. But then I got an interview or connected with Erin's boss, I guess.
Manager.
Yeah. And so she was like, well, why don't you just come in and you can meet the team and we can kind of go over stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, cool. And I was really nervous because I didn't know what to expect. And I didn't ask. So I was like, it's better just not to know because then I'll get in my head about it. So I didn't know if there was going to be a scan test. I didn't know it was going to be like a formal sit down.
Well, I didn't know either. And I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to get in your head. But they did an interview 2 days before you came in and there was like 6 people in the room from all different departments. And I was like, oh dear God, if they do that.
That's like my worst nightmare.
And then I also think it would have been damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you would have known that I knew and didn't tell you, but then again, if I did tell you, it would have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I just chose to let it happen as is and let you just be yourself. Cause I know when you get in your head, it's worse. If you just go in there and be yourself and you fly off and you're like, oh, I can't run.
Yeah.
So I got to do this. You would have been just fine. So.
No, I'm glad you didn't tell me that because I would have been even more nervous where, I didn't even think about it. So I was like, I'm just going to go just see what happens, you know? And, and before that, I was talking back and forth with her and I was like, do you guys need a traveler? Because they were having 2 people were going out. And so I was like, would love to come on as a traveler because I'll work full time and blah, 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 blah. And she was like, well, we don't have enough, like we wouldn't be able to guarantee full-time hours to warrant a traveler coming in, but we could use help with PRN to pick up shifts and this and that. And so I was like, okay. And so when I went in, I met with the lead who was super cool. And it's funny because I think she was from Pennsylvania and she started, she's like, I blew it my whole life, decided to start traveling and came to Parker as a traveler, took a contract and never left. So now she's the lead of that department. And she's like, so I never really traveled anywhere. This was it, but she loves it and whatever. So we literally just like sat and chatted about like traveling and stuff. And she was like super cool. And then the manager came in and the lead was like, like, you know, I guess the manager is going to come in and you guys can like talk and stuff. So I was like, oh no, is it going to go into one of those like interviews, you know? But then she came in and she's like, okay, hey, like so nice. Cause also I kind of have an in because you know them and they love you, which is, it does take the pressure off because like, oh, we just love Aaron so much and he's been so helpful and we're so glad you're here. Like she was so warm and friendly and welcoming and we already had that kind of like knowing. And she was like, how were your trips? Like she knew we were gone, you know? So it opened up that conversation and she's like, okay, so I'm guessing you guys have already talked about what our needs are on this time because like, or the lead was like, we literally talked about nothing but traveling. Like we haven't gotten down to anything like at all with the work, with the job. And it was so casual and it was just so like, literally we just sat and talked. The other stenographer came in super chill and they just went over like the needs that they had. It's a cake department. Like they do no procedures. Zero.
No, we do them all.
Aaron, yeah. You guys do paras and thoras and thyroids, which is
and
crazy.
Abscess drainages and all of it, yeah.
I have never worked at a place that doesn't do any procedures. So that's a treat. They do no OB. They do no breasts. It's very like just, you know, abdomens and kidneys and pelvics and thyroid. Like it's very chill, like venous Dopplers, carotid, just basic shit, which like I love because I'm like, oh, I don't have to like get into like the craziness of it. Like it'll be like chill. 24-hour coverage so they don't take call. And it seems like a great team. Everybody was so nice. But the one thing I was like, because they were like, until September, we basically need help. And the schedule is a little bit wonky, but essentially works out to be 3 12s a week. So I'm like, so you do need full time. Yeah. You do need a traveler. And so that made me think a little bit because I was like, if I hadn't talked to the manager like ahead of time, because we've been kind of talking back and forth for months, like we connected when we were traveling and we set it up that when I got home, we would meet and connect. So I was like, maybe because they knew I was interested in coming in and like I could work shifts and pick up PRN, if they kind of use that as a way to not hire a traveler.
Well, I talked to my lead about it.
Okay.
I said, it was like, she asked me how it went. And I was like, it went great. Like Kim's excited, blah, blah, blah. It was awesome. Everybody was cool as I knew they would be. And I said, the only thing that gets me is the whole time they were going back and forth, we knew that there was 2 people going out. So then we were like, well, Kim was like, that's a bad, or you were like, I don't want to jump in and take a PRN and then they hire a traveler on the back end and I'm there stuck as a PRN when I'm actually a traveler. Which there's pros and cons. Obviously, we know the money is better as a traveler, obviously. Mm-hmm. Tax-free and all that kind of stuff. But also, as a traveler, you're guaranteed these hours, right? I mean, for the most part, right? They're not. But as PRN, they could just literally be, oh, no, we're covered. We're fine. We don't need you today, right? Like, so I didn't want you nickel and diming. You know what I'm saying? Like them being like one day here and then a month later, one day here. It just doesn't do any good. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. Yeah. Especially with the fact that they needed that. If they brought in a traveler, right? That would have sucked. And so I told her that. And she was like, you know, the manager, like she's honest as can be and she wants what's best for us. And she does advocate for us. So if she said she couldn't bring in a traveler, it's because the higher up said, absolutely not. Figure it out.
Which is kind of bullshit in a way of, again, who knows what's really going on. I don't know the inside of that department and how it works and how many people they have, right? I was just there for, 30 minutes, but I'm constantly, every day I go on to the AMN app and the Aya app and look at if there's been any new jobs posted in Colorado for a traveler. And so I went on and just put Colorado, but I forgot to put stenographer, And so it was like all these Colorado jobs. And then I was seeing like Parker pop up and I'm like, and it's lit. So they're hiring a travel MRI tech, a CT tech, an X-ray tech, tons of nurses. And I'm like, that's crazy. Obviously IR tech, like you're there, but they have an ultrasound traveler.
Well, because they have enough people to cover it. And that's what I'm guessing. Yeah. If they booked it, like really crammed. but MRI is super low. Like there's a lot of things going on. They're bringing on a new CT tech, but like there's holes, right?
Yeah.
People are leaving whatever it is, like gaps. The our hospital is getting extremely busy. They're trying to turn it into a trauma one. It is in a prime location on the highway, so we get a lot of the first issues within that 470, 75, 25 kind of issue. And the area in general is pretty big for like just covering landmass wise. And so we're getting a lot busier.
Yeah.
Which those other departments are cranking.
Yeah. No, and I get that. Obviously there's a reason. But I was like bummed because I really wanted to do the travel thing. But then I thought, okay, cool. PRN will be great. I still get the flexibility. And at least for these first couple of months, they're going to use me a lot, like working almost like a full-time position, which right now we want to be making good money. And she also said, if we can't give you enough hours, they need help at 2 of our other sister properties that are close to us too. So like once I'm in there, it's, you can work at other hospitals, which is cool too. And our goal is to stay here as long as we possibly can.
Well, plus it buffs your resume.
That was the other thing. It's like, okay, now I will have something back on my resume and that's going to look good for future contracts. So that was huge. And just skill and keeping up, my skill in ultrasound, right? I don't want to completely lose that, especially because we want to be taking some contracts, over the next year and a half, right? And so anyway, so I did the I guess you would call it an interview, but it really wasn't. They were amazing. And it's at least the shift they need me to do right now until this one girl gets back. It's like a 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. shift. And so that's because you go to work at 7:30. So we can like carpool together and it's across the street from where we live. I mean, I could walk there if I needed to. So it's really convenient. Seems like a great vibe. So I had the interview and basically they're like, yeah, like we'll have the recruiter reach out to you and extend an offer or whatever. So that was the next part of like, okay, see what that is, what's the rate, that kind of thing. And they sent me the offer. It was like so quick. It was like that afternoon. And
and
so the rate was really great. I'll end up
it's almost travel pay.
If I work 36 hours a week, which seems like I'm going to be, if I do 3 12s a week, it's going to be similar to if I'm working a contract. Granted, I'm going to be taxed more.
But even with the taxes.
Yeah. So I was like, that's freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that feels exciting. So I accepted it. And I have orientation on the 30th of June, which I was hoping it'd be sooner, but the way that they do orientation and stuff. So I officially will start on June 30th.
Yay.
And we'll be working at the same hospital, just like old times.
Thursday and Friday.
Where we met.
Yeah.
It's like a small hospital too, so it kind of has that vibe of like cruise by IR and be like, hey, what are you doing? We could like walk and go get a Celsius together.
Yeah, very true.
But I'm excited about it because I'm excited to make some money, like all the things I listed, resume building, whatever. And again, I think working PRN doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you're just somewhere for 3 months, right? Because you're like, by the time you get in there and get going, you're leaving. But because our goal, like I said, is to stay here as long as possible, right? Like we want to stay put. This is a great way to get my foot in the door and still have flexibility, but there's still the variable that like
on September 5th, I could be done.
We're hoping that's not going to happen. I do not think that's what's going to happen. But it's just funny because you just never know. But I also believe everything always works out exactly as it should. And this just felt right. Like from the get, it just felt right. Mm-hmm. So it's going to work. It'll work out fine.
Well, there's also a huge dynamic, which I actually really appreciate that we do as a couple. Sometimes it's, I don't know, it could be harmful, but it's mainly, I think it's a great thing. And it's the deep conversations of like, you were still checking all the apps. Like, should I take a contract? Like, even though, right, we were talking about it, but to be honest with you, this is a big shift. And I know it's what we want to do. And we've talked endlessly about the pros, the cons, like what we're trying to do, the goals we want to achieve. But honestly, I love the dynamic that we currently have, right? I love going to work knowing that you go to the gym, you go straight to the cafe, you're on your computer putting in 8-9 hours into like Travsessed and like all the things, keeping this afloat. You're coming up with podcast topics, you're always researching, you're always coming up with ideas. It keeps me motivated at work. And then when I come home, dinner's prepared, my lunch for the next day is ready. Like I just get to like come home, help you with whatever you need in the kitchen for dinner, help you clean up. And then we get to just chill and like relax. And the laundry's done, the sheets are washed, my pajamas are laid out.
You're
like
spoiled rotten.
100%, right? And that's kind of what we've done. And we set that as a stage when we first started of like, if somebody's not working, because that's a possibility, but we also didn't have another job, another business on the line. And so now you're working the same amount of hours, if not more, but still keeping up with the household. And like, you've done such a good job of that. And I think we've gotten in such a good flow that all of a sudden now, wait, you're going full time. Like, what does that look like? What does that look like for the other things? What does that look like for me? What does that look like for our family? What does that look like for the things that are things going to start slipping? Like we had to really re-talk about all of this, like to the detail. What does that look like for the gym? Like we have such a good flow with that. Like, and I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I think it's going to be such a big transition for us because, yeah, I have been home for 2 years and I am like the sole person behind everything that happens with Travsessed, right? Like that's my job. Like that's what I've been doing and working on and growing and all the trips and everything, right? Like that has been what I have focused on for 2 years. And I mean, obviously you do things too. That's, you know what I mean though, just like as far as like the guts of it, like the trip, all of it, right? So and I've loved every second. I love working from home. I love our dynamic. It's perfect. And it's going to be a transition. But we know when we're talking about future planning that this is the best. This is going to serve us in the long run, right? Totally. Both of us working, making money in the hospital, still running Travsessed. And yeah, it's going to be an adjustment. I will obviously not be able to put as much time into it as I do now. But, you know, we have our trips that we're going to be doing next year. And I also have help from Alex, who I love, who is our, I guess, assistant, you would say.
Yeah, like virtual assistant.
She helps a lot with certain things. And so it's just going to be finding kind of a new flow of balancing between, you know, working in the hospital and doing all the things for Travsessed. But also the cool thing about PRN is that it is flexible. So there could be weeks that I'm working full time and there could be weeks that I'm working 2 days, which means I have 5 days to put into Travsessed, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting dynamic. And yeah, it's like, you know, both of us working and coming home and you've gotten so used to like I do pretty much everything and during the week, like obviously on the weekend you cook and
I'm also not a bum.
Okay, 100%. And
I'm not one of those that sit on the couch and be like, do all my stuff for me.
Just give me a beer.
Give me a beer. Like,
yeah, no, is it coming across like I'm saying that?
I think between my story and yours, it's starting to lean a little bit like I come home and go to the bathroom and, you know, basically roll out and my dinner is served on a platter
with
a bib and like I have my drink set up for me.
Well,
and
that's
like,
all true besides the bib.
It is.
But
I also cooked the main part of the dish tonight.
No, you are so helpful. I think we have such a great partnership and dynamic. Like you do so much, you know, but that has been the thing that I'm home. So me throwing in a thing of laundry and folding the laundry, like you work 10 hours a day. Like you're on call right now. I'm working too in Travsessed, but working from home and being in your own flow is a completely different vibe than being crushed by patients all day and all the things so like we both play our parts and we do a really good job, and you do so much to help. You also run all the Travsessed things from the financial aspect, the taxes, like, so you come home from work and have to deal with that shit. So no, you do the most, like you do so much. So I never wanted to come across as that.
No.
But like, it will be different of you coming home, I'm not here, and you're like, okay, like I'm making dinner. It's just going to be different.
No,
it's
it is.
That's
all.
And
I think we've always said, no matter what, like our relationship comes 1st.
Mm-hmm.
What we have to do comes 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then what we need to do comes 3rd. Right. And like our relationship, meaning, are we spending enough quality time together? Are we still going out and exploring and having fun together? Or is all this stuff getting in the way? I would say our gym and health comes before what we need to do as well.
Yes.
And so like when you have all of those things and now you're throwing in a dynamic of you working full time, what slips, right? And I think you have to be honest with yourself to say we're not Superman, Superwoman as much as we think we are. And I know we can accomplish a lot together, especially when we put our minds to it. So there's 2 things to the story. Number 1 is like, what's going to slip, and we have to and we'll figure that out, right? But things will, and I think we have to be soft on ourselves to be able to adapt to that, to be like, okay, this slipped, but that's okay. Like it's not anything that we did. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. I'll have some days off that now you might be at work, right? So it flips a little bit. But also, what was I going to say with 2? Crap, I totally forgot. It'll come back to me. But
yeah. Well, I think, again, we're going to figure it out as we go, just like we always do. And we're really good at that, of like finding a groove. And obviously both of us working isn't like an issue. Like we've worked years and years and years and years and years of our relationship where we've both worked full time. That's a very normal thing. I think what's coming into this dynamic is me going back to work after working 2 years full time in Travsessed. And now that's going to be shifting, right? And so I think that's going to be the biggest thing that we're just going to have to figure it out as we go. And I know that we will. And like, we're good partners, and we'll kind of just, feel it out as we go.
We're also busier than we've ever been.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, it's going to be good. I'm excited. I'm excited for you, actually, to get back in there. I think it's a good release.
Well, I don't know about a release. But like
to like be in the, I don't know.
No, I don't look at it as I wouldn't use the word release, but I'm excited because I love like working from home. Like I love what I get to do every day. I'm grateful for it, but I'm excited for how this will help us move the needle towards our bigger life goals, and like being able to get back into the hospital, keep my skills up is important to me. Even though like for years we're like, we just want to be out of the hospital, which is always our end goal. But right now, like we're in a season that it is still a part of our life. And so I want to be able to use that as an opportunity to make really good money together while still running Travsessed and having our trips and all the things that come with that, so that we can reach our goals faster. So it's big picture. It's exciting. It is exciting. Yeah. And I don't know how long we're going to be in Colorado. I don't know how long, they're going to need me on like the kind of a full-time basis. So I just want to go in there with an open mind and do my best and know that we're going to like figure out our new flow together as it comes. Yeah. Because so it's interesting, but yeah. It's been a while. Mm-hmm. When's the last time we've both worked full-time? Palm Springs.
Were you even full-time there?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
We're 312.
Yeah, what, 2021? 22.
22, yeah.
Jeez.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's the last time you worked a contract.
Wait, no, because I worked in St. Louis.
Before that, we went from St. Louis to Durango to Palm Springs.
Oh, really?
We stopped in Durango to see Steve and Ellen, stayed in their Airbnb, and then drove to Palm Springs. Got there on Valentine's Day weekend, and everything was sold out.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
So it's 2022.
Wow. Okay. So anyways, that's kind of the life update. It's exciting, different.
Yeah.
Different, but different good. Kind of just see how it goes. I still have 2 weeks to kind of get all of our stuff in order. So I want to just use these 2 weeks as I'm going to get the Killy trip completely done. We just have to talk about it. It's almost there. And just get some stuff done, get the 2026 trips hammered out, and then we'll be good to go. Mm-hmm. Did you want to do any quick update on the health progress? Because we talked about that last week, and we're weighing in every Sunday. So what was your Sunday?
Oh, my Sunday was 219.3.
I know, but how much weight did you?
Which means I started out on that scale. I'm always going to put an asterisk on that because I think I was over 230, 330. Jesus, Ew. That's how I felt. 230, but now, so technically from the scale weigh-in that I have documented, I have lost 7 pounds.
Hell yeah. That's amazing.
And tightened up.
Yeah.
Lost body fat percentage, gained muscle mass. So
that's why I love that scale, because it tells you, it's like cool to see that, right?
I mean, it still says my right arm is fatter than my stomach.
Yeah.
That
doesn't make any sense. No. But I lost 4 pounds.
Nice.
Which I was really excited about because, again, it was just reaffirming that what I was doing was working. And that's all I needed. Like, I just needed that motivation to be like, cool, like, keep going. Like, it's working and I feel good. And, it's not even that hard. Like, we feel great. Like, we've been working out almost every day and just eating really clean for the most part, except today we're both ravenous and just want to I just want to go on a bender.
It's so funny. Kim came to pick me up and like, she was like, I was going to call you for treats. And I just feel like sitting on the couch and eating pizza.
And eating a chocolate bar. That's what I want.
And I was like, oh my God, that was crazy. Like I struggled from like 10. Like I went to lunch at 11:30 today because I was just.
I ate my lunch at 10:45. I was so hungry.
Yeah. They were like, you're on call today. Do you want to like wait later? And I was like, no, I need to go now.
Yeah.
And so I went down and ate. And then just struggled all afternoon. Like we were busy and then we just hit a complete stop where like 2 patients canceled and like we had nothing else lined up. And then I'm like, crap, I'm just sitting there. So I was like trying to keep myself busy because all I want to do is go down to the cafeteria and grab some like Sour Patch Kids or something. Like I was just like, today's the day. I don't care. I want to grab a soda and I didn't. And like, so I like really, really held on. I was proud of my mindset today because I was in a kind of one of those funks, but it was funny to hear that you were feeling the same way at home. We were
both feeling the exact same way today. Yeah. In that funk of like, I don't even really care. Like, I wanted something munchy. And honestly, tomorrow will be day 19. I haven't really had very many cravings. Like I felt great. No. I just nothing, but today is just, I was like, I had a bowl of that popcorn that we love. I forget the brand of it, but there's like no garbage in it. And that was salty and it kind of gave me, and then I took the edge off, and then I had some frozen grapes, the cotton candy ones, which we've been like plowing through. But so that kind of helped. But yeah, it was just one of those days I'm like, I don't really care. I just want to like sit on the couch and watch TV and like stuff my face with a pizza and Caesar salad and like a chocolate bar. But we didn't.
I mean, it is funny. It's the one day we didn't wake up and go to the gym today.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all connected, man.
And so when I wake up and go to the gym, like I was more lethargic at work today. I'm just like on cloud 9 after I go to the gym in the morning until about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then I start to hit a funk, but I can always like have my snack and it bumps me back up and I feel great. And like, gets me through the 5:30 kind of time frame, and then I'm coming home and it's time for dinner, It's really a domino effect. Like I always feel my best when we go to the gym in the morning, and then I'm like, cool, like I feel great. I don't really, I don't know. Yeah, it just makes you want to make good choices throughout the day. But we ended up just having our taco bowls. Blah, blah. They were good.
It was fine, but like
I like it because I have a substantial lunch tomorrow.
Yeah. But I know, and I think too, it's not like we're never going to eat pizza again. Okay.
No.
Like that's not at all what it is. We're like, we're just never going to eat chocolate or have pizza again. Oh, it's so bad. Like, no, like that's not the case. But right now we're trying to lose weight. So we are in a different phase where you weighing out too. I'm like, okay, do I really want this pizza or will this craving pass? And can I maybe replace it with something else, right? Like I had the popcorn that really helped. Or is it something that if I do, then I'm going to like feel like shit. So it wasn't worth it. And there will be a time that it is worth it.
Well,
but we dodged a bullet today.
We've talked about it. We're on day 19 of 56. So it's like we said, let's put our heads down for 56 days and let's really pull back the curtain and like be very as strict as possible. I mean, we went to lunch the other day and I had a healthier style burger. So we're not like restricting ourselves. And we both shared the chips that were on my plate, which were absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, they were so salty and crunchy.
And but we also went to F45 that morning and then went for a 2-mile hike, like uphill both ways, holding a potato.
Holding a potato?
You know, your parents like, I hiked 6 miles to school holding a potato to keep myself warm.
I've never heard that.
Okay, it's an old lineage.
I've heard the walking to school, but not with the potato.
Uphill both ways, holding a potato to keep myself warm.
Aww. Yeah. Like a hot one?
They're saying when the kids complain. They're like, I walked, just,
Well, and we did order DoorDash last night too, which was the first time we've ate out. We've cooked every single meal, or not the first time we've ate out, but we haven't ate out very often since we've started. We cook every meal at home, but
we've had our lunches in the towns we've.
Yeah, right. But we're both just like, I don't want to cook. I don't want to clean up. Like, I don't want that at all. So we ordered from our favorite Mediterranean place, and you had a chicken kebab and like a lamb kebab and a salad. And I'm obsessed with their hummus. It's so good. There's so much olive oil and so much tahini. You don't like it because it's so much tahini.
Tastes like bananas.
So I treated myself and I had a pita with the hummus, which was like my favorite thing ever. And I savored every second of it.
I did have a pita as well.
And oh yeah, you did too. And then I got rid of it. And I'm like, cool. Like, I don't need to have 5 pitas. Like, right. You know, so it was very, very enjoyable. But then we're like, okay, cool. Done by, so.
It was funny that was usually a 2 to 3 times a week is now like an indulgent meal, but it still was kept under control, which was good.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, I'm done.
I'm done, bro. I'm about to go take a shower, get up in that bed.
I'm cooked at 7:30.
At 7:30, gosh. Well, I also didn't sleep last night, so I'm
very true.
Exhausted.
I think that also leads to your choices today of like not feeling into it,
just feeling in a funk,
feeling crappy, wanting pizza. It's the same thing as feeling hungover.
Being on the couch, yeah.
Your mind is not actually like in it.
Yeah.
So
hopefully, I can sleep tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this ep with the catch up of all the work things, and we will be back next week.
We will.
Maybe.
Oh, there. Yeah, we will. Alrighty.
All right. Have a good week. Toodaloos.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we hope that you really, really enjoyed it.
And if you did love this episode, can you please do us a huge favor and just share this with one of your friends? Like, just somebody that you think will get value from this episode. It would mean so much to us.
Yeah, like do it now. Like while you're inspired, go now.
Like right this second. Yeah, go. Or just like share it on your Instagram story and tag us at Kim and Aaron G so that we can see it and thank you personally for helping us share this message, share this episode, and blow this baby up.
Yeah, help spread the obsession.
Ooh.
You can do that.
Let's get obsessed.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful to be on this journey with you, and we will see you next week.
Bye.